Okay, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This is kind of a new it's a revamp on an old existing show. So this is Late Night with Chig. This is what the new podcast format is going to be like. It's going to normally be on at 10, every 10 o'clock every Sunday. I can't do it at 10 tonight. That's the only reason why I've decided to go a bit earlier. And joining me are two people I've wanted to bring on together for some time. First and foremost, you should know my brother by now. You should know my comeback co-host by now. Ola, say hello to the people, Ola.
Back again, man, for the second time today. It's been a minute since I've been on the football show. I explained
Yeah,
to you, behind the scenes why, but yeah, it's definitely nice to be back on your show talking football.
yeah. Honestly, to be honest, because we talk so much MMA and boxing these days, I actually don't know your views on certain stuff about football. So this is a good opportunity to kind of find out. So, and people keep telling me, when are you going to bring Ola back on? Like I don't do a show with you every single week. It's like, all right, I'll bring Ola back on to the football show, no problem. So here we go. So Ola's back. And joining me is someone I've also wanted on for a while now. Someone I met through Claude, a mutual friend of ours. Everyone should know who Claude is by now. Big up to Claude if he is watching. And that is Diesels making his debut on the show. Say hello to the people, Diesel.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Listen, just first off, just Chig, much appreciated for having me on. It's nice to come on a show that I actually watch weekly without fail.
Brilliant.
No, hand on heart, I mean that. And no, honestly, thanks for having me on. It's good to obviously meet Ola, and I was going to say in the flesh, but kind of in the flesh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is about as close as we're allowed to get these days.
I was going to say social
distance. Oh man! But thank you for everyone that is tuned in. Please do stick a like on this video. It helps people get noticed. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get our numbers right through the roof. So what I'm going to talk about today, and this is the way my podcast format's going to go forward, is we're going to have a main subject, and then we're going to have mini subjects that we talk around. You guys, as always, please interact as much as possible. Don't argue in the chat room, though. Actually interact, contribute. If there's something you want us to talk about, let us know, and we'll go forward. We're going to try and keep it not so transfer rumor heavy, because I do focus a lot of my shows on that. We're going to just talk about kind of Arsenal news, and if there is like a real Arsenal story, like, for example, with the two players we're about to talk about, yes, they are both being linked with moves elsewhere, but I'm talking about, like vague transfer stories. Won't be talking about that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the show. And let's see how we go. Let's talk about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Like I say, Ola, I actually genuinely don't know your opinion on this. You obviously like the player because you'd be crazy not to. What are our chances realistically of keeping this guy?
I mean, talking about Aubameyang right here, Wakanda forever, right there.
Anyone who doesn't know Ola comes prepared with props. Prepared.
So you already know how I feel about this, but I think it's a shame that the board, they said something to us when they came on board. Yeah, if you have 18 months or less on your contract and you don't sign, it don't matter who you are, you will get sold.
Yeah.
You will not hold the club to ransom, because we see what Aaron Ramsey did. We saw what he did with the club. So for me, I just thought the hierarchy have failed us in that regard, because allowing Aubameyang to go into his last year of contract is criminal. And everybody's thinking, okay, you know what? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? At this point, obviously, we didn't see the corona situation coming. That's one thing to decide. But having said all of that, it's so important to the squad. Without him, and his goals this season, and I've heard different arguments to this as well, but this is just my opinion. Without him and his goals this season and what he's contributed to the team, we're nowhere near the top 15 in the league this season, and that's fact. That that goes with with the goals, and the goals that he scored for us. They're not just equal. They're important goals. You know, they're not like a scoring the fourth goal in a match you're already winning. These are goals that were getting us draws because we were drawing a lot of times, and these were goals that were getting us 3 points. That was getting us over the line. So without his goals, I don't think we get into the top half of the table. So it's so crazy when you look at him. We're 10th in the table or ninth before the whole pandemic situation. Ninth in the table, and this guy is second top goal scorer. He was top goal scorer for a while because Jamie Vardy was injured, and it was on a drought for a little while as well. I think it was on a 5-game drought. So Aubameyang was top goal scorer in the league, and to be that lethal, where we gonna get somebody that's gonna give us the return that we're getting off of Aubameyang? We're never gonna get. I don't think we will. It's hard. It's hard to even try and find somebody to replace him, and that's why I think the board needs to move heaven and earth. The same way they did the Ozil, but we know Aubameyang gives us obviously goals on a regular basis. So for me, I just think we need Aubameyang. We need him signed. We need him to stay at the club. He's the captain, you know, and he's got a rapport with the fans as well. Majority of the fans, anyways. I mean, the people that criticize him, yeah, they have one or two reasons to do that, but he's even added that to his game, which is tracking back and defending towards the last quarter part of the season. Last season, literally saw him defending in the box and tracking back. So that's always nice to see when you're fighting that he's prepared to roll his sleeve up and lead by example. So yeah, man, to me right now at this moment in time is priceless. And if I see him go to a rival club in the Premier League, I will lose my fucking shit. I'm telling you right now.
Well, so I mean that's the thing, and he brought up a couple of things I want to kind of touch on with Diesel, right? So for me, and I see somebody said it in the chat room. I think it was Reload in the chat room, and I've said this all along, right? And I know, and me and you both know that Claude is a big proponent of no matter what happens, we absolutely must keep Aubameyang, even if he doesn't sign a contract. My question is always, all right, if you do that, you still have this same problem next year, except now you don't have 40 to 50 million to help the cause of trying to replace him. So if you're going to lose him anyway, why don't you try and maximize the return that you can get now? I agree with Ola, don't get me wrong. First priority has to be to keep him. He is much more deserving of a £300,000 a week than, say, a Mesut Ozil.
Yeah.
Having said that, if he ultimately decides that he wants to go, and I'm seeing lots of stories now, like the Madrid stuff is really cranking up because they've put us on a deadline, which annoys me in itself.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to hear lots of rumours, which you've heard before, about Aubameyang's granddad. His dream has always been for Aubameyang to join Real Madrid, and Aubameyang wants to honour that for him, and yada yada yada. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, if we're going to lose him to Madrid anyway, why not maximise our return? Even if it's whether it's getting Jovic in return, whether it's getting money in return, and then us go and get someone else. Whether it's if we lose him to PSG and then getting an Icardi, which brings me on to the second thing. Ola mentioned, how do you replace goals with goals? Is Icardi the answer?
Well, it's do you know what? I said it on our channel the other day that Icardi, I was asked the question, would I take him? I rate him. I do rate him, and I think he will bring goals. My issue with Icardi is off the field, right? It's is it his wife, I believe, who's his agent. And you know, the way I look at it, I'll big up Terry. The way, if I don't shout him out, he gets upset with me. So I just think, you know, if he can do all the nonsense he does out there in Italy with the ultras, mate, it just makes me think, with a fan base like ours, Chig, if he can do that out there with them, what can he do here? And that worries me. I'm not gonna lie.
I can understand that.
Do you know what I mean? That aside, Icardi on the pitch, I would. If it was a swap, I would, if I'm honest. But what I would say, this is where obviously the guys on the channel and I differed a little bit, because there's a lot of fans. It's very split. You know, there's a lot of fans saying if he doesn't sign, we don't sell him, we keep him for another year, and then we let him, you know, walk out for free. And I'm sorry, you know, but no, you know, it's people are saying, you know, what's 30 million? Well, number one, who was it who set that figure of 30 million? So if he's got another year left, I personally think you could get 40, 50 for him. Then people will say, yeah, but what's 40, 50 million going to get? Well, hang on a minute, you're putting 40 or 50 million towards the money we've got, right, to get another striker, right? Now, then people will say, yeah, but we need him for the last year because his goals will help us crack the top 4. My argument to that, well, he scored plenty of goals this season,
and we're ninth, or wherever it is we are.
Anything, right? That they argue to, or you know, they put a case to me about Aubameyang. I've always got something to, like, you know, I can counteract it, and then it gets to a point, Chig, where they run out of things to say. You know what I'm saying? Aubameyang, listen, bigger and better clubs have left Arsenal, and we've remained, and we're okay, right? I love Aubameyang, don't get me wrong, but I'm not into this. I don't have that belief of keeping a player who doesn't want to be here. Want to be here. You know, if he does, I personally think he wants to stay, but he wants Ozil money. That's never going to happen, right? It won't happen. So if
and
that
who
can't
can blame him in a way?
No,
you're looking
I
at
can't.
Mr. Ozil.
No, of course not.
Think to yourself, hold on. Really? And I'm on half of what this geezer's on.
Yeah, literally
I don't blame him.
No, I don't at all. And the thing is as well, because Ozil's on that money, not just Aubameyang, any player who plays for Arsenal and is doing the business, expect to knock on the manager's door to say, look, we need to talk. Because you're seeing Ozil. This is a player who can't play in away games, who's on a big fat wedge, right? I don't blame Aubameyang for saying, I want what he's on, or very, very close to it, right? He could even say, he's got an argument to say, I want more. You know,
yeah. Honestly, you
know. But yeah, that's where I am with it. I'm just thinking, if he doesn't want to sign, he doesn't want to stay, you can't let our biggest asset, a star striker, walk out the club for free. You can't do it. I'd rather take the 40, 50 for him and then invest that along with the rest of the money we've got and invest in another striker. Or
between you and Reloaded, you're exactly where my thinking is. Reloaded has just executed the second part of what I was going to say, which was, people forget that when Henry turned down an initial move to Barcelona, I think it was because he eventually moved in 07, but in 06 he rejected a big move, and then he was injured for most of the year, and then he ended up leaving for like 16 million, when I think the year before he was worth more than double that. It's like you don't know the things that will happen. I feel like at this moment in time, if the boy wants to stay, great, sign the contract. Honestly, it's like Lee keeps saying, if you are really tired of the speculation, then sign the thing. Otherwise, I don't want to hear this. Oh well, I'm so tired of the contract. I'm so tired of the papers making up stuff. But yet you're not saying one way or another what you want to do. Meanwhile, you have people that are genuinely worried. And listen, I want to hold on to Aubameyang, but I've always maintained the man is not irreplaceable.
But my problem is this, though, Chig. This is my question. What are the club actually doing to try and secure his services, to try and tie him down and show him that we are serious and we're ready to fucking take him and the club to the next level?
It's an excellent
What is the club doing to show him that? Because if the club is showing ambition, which we've heard a lot of players that's left the club say, then Aubameyang will listen.
Because
they might get in their side.
Because I think, I don't want to speak for many Arsenal fans. I think Arsenal fans, most reasonable Arsenal fans, can understand if we don't go crazy in the transfer market this summer, given everything that's happening at the moment. What Arsenal fans want to see, though, is that the few assets we have, you are making the best of it, whether it's the ones you want to keep or the ones you want to sell. Because one way or another, we need to get rid of a lot of deadwood.
Yeah.
And we need to make moves to keep the actual real gems of the club here. And like you say, if the club are then offering Aubameyang $280 a week, I think that's a large offer, probably more than I would imagine the club would want to offer, and Aubameyang rejects it. I would at least say, all right, they've made some kind of effort to keep him. He still wants to go. I say, let him go. Let's see if we can find a replacement. But you do worry when you hear stuff from ex-players about whether they were actually offered contracts in the end or whether it was always just talks. Has anything actually been offered to him? Has he rejected anything yet? Because all we're hearing is that talks have stalled. We've not heard anything else. And that in itself does worry me. Like, what are we actually doing to keep these guys? So you're right. It's a very fair question of what you're saying. And then that, I suppose, within that brings me on to Saka. Because as much as I am worried, and I am worried about Aubameyang, in a lot of ways, I'm even more worried if Bukayo Saka leaves. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we're losing a guy who's in his 30s, who doesn't believe that the club has the ambition to match their ambition. But if an 18-year-old turns around and says, I don't know if you guys have the ambition to match my ambitions.
Exactly.
What kind of message does that send to the players that an 18-year-old doesn't believe in this club? Mm-hmm. I mean, that would be truly scary, wouldn't it?
Well, this is the thing, though, Chig. You know what I mean? I remember Van Persie, as much as a lot of the Arsenal fans obviously call him a snake and this and that, but he did come out and say, do you know what? We're all talking about money. It might not be money. It might be Aubameyang saying, you know, what direction are you going in? You know, who are you looking to buy in the summer? You know, where are we going? I'm 31. I want to win trophies. What are you doing? Convince me to stay. Why should I stay? Forget money. I'm you know, he's rich, right? He's a millionaire, right? And I'd love to be on Fly on the Wall to hear what the response would be from the club, because there's been players in the past who have, like, you know, a little, like, you know, an innuendo to say, look, I did want to stay, but they can't match my ambition. So they've gone elsewhere, and guess what? Within the first season, they've won something. You know what I'm saying? And when you got Saka, who's 18, and I said it, you know, the other day, he's had a great season, right? He's fielding at left back. He's had a great season. But I think we all need to calm down, right? It's not the finished article yet. Some Arsenal fans are going over the top and overhyping him, right? He's 18. I've always said, judge players in the second season, because it's second season, it's harder. The opposition know your game more, right? I'd like to see him next season. But for an 18-year-old kid to stall, if that is true, and say, you know what? I don't know. I'm not sure. In the past, blimey, I don't even look at the amount. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
You know, and that's worrying. That is worrying. And it just
shows. You've heard Tony Adams say that very recently, that when Arsenal used to present him a contract, he didn't even look at the contract. He was just like, sign, and that's it. Yeah. And all right, we have to understand that, obviously, today, players barely look at the contracts. If anything, they have representatives that look at their contracts. But I just feel like, I must admit, my confidence in the Saka situation is completely gone. Because funny enough, there's someone in the chat room, one of my group chats on WhatsApp, and he's very, how can I put this tactfully? very cynical to Arsenal's ways, right? And he brought up the Saka thing, and I must admit, my first reaction to it was, don't worry, he's an Arsenal man, he's going to sign. That was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
3 months later, we are no closer to knowing whether this boy is going to sign. I mean, Ola, what's your instinct on this? Do you think Saka's going to stay?
At this rate, it doesn't look at it. He's one of our best players last season as well. And we almost discovered him the same way we discovered Bellerin at the time. He wasn't even meant to come in as a left back, but he's done so well. He's done so well back there that he's shown he's versatile. He can, he can listen to instructions and
show quality
and get the job done as well. And get the job done under pressure. And he was so impressive. Like, the season just gone. I'll call it last season. Maybe it will exist or not. We don't know yet. But the thing for me that's so scary about Arsenal is how all these players are reaching their last year in contract, and we're not doing enough I don't understand it. We need to be convincing these players. These are our young players, our young ones, and we can't even convince him to sign a contract. Like, I like to know what's going on with the hierarchy, because, like I said, to me, it looks to me they're failing us, because surely there's something deeper going on down there that's obviously we're not privy to. But from what we can see from outside looking in, people like Saka should not even be in the last year of his contract. When we're just seeing what it could be. What we saw what happened with Jadon Sancho. He could be another one of those situations. You let him walk away for nothing. We could have that situation on our hands, and we've done very, very poor business over the years. But this one is literally going to be up there if we let this kid walk. Look what happened with Gnabry, and look where we are now. We're watching him out there in flying absolutely high out there in German football. Things that we would love our player to do to Tottenham, we watch Gnabry doing it with Bayern Munich, and we're fucking jizzing over it. It's a disgrace letting a player like that walk out of the way, and nobody really spotted his potential that it could be as good as this. And we got fuck all for him as well. That's the worst bit. That's the kick in the teeth. We got nothing for this guy. Absolutely nothing. And that's down to how we treated him in the negotiation area, and in those areas that it's heartbreaking, man.
First of all, thank you to you, Shifts, by the way, for the donation. Much love, brother. I hope you're well. It's been a while since I've seen you. I think, let me ask you guys this question. Somebody put it in the chat room. I highlighted it earlier. I didn't necessarily want to ask it, but I feel like it's important to ask now. Let's just be real here. Diesel, you could only keep one, Aubameyang or Saka. Who do you keep?
Saka. I'll keep Saka because Saka's our future. I think there's a lot of potential there. I'd like to see him played further up front in his natural position. Last few games of the season, he was dummying players, he was nutmegging players. I mean, like, his confidence, it's like a kid who's come out of nowhere, and he was playing every game, his confidence. And I just think if that was a little snippet of what's to come, all right, providing obviously the club looks after him and obviously allows him to play and doesn't buy any player to block his path. Aubameyang is on the other hand, he's 31. He's coming to the end. I know, in this day and age now they can play until they're 34, 35. But if we're honest, I mean, he's nowhere near as quick as, in my opinion, as he was in Dortmund. Right, he's losing his pace. Aubameyang's whole thing is movement. Yeah. And he's a class player, right? In my opinion, he's not world class. He's just below. But he's 31. So even if he stays cheek, the likelihood is we'll get another year, 2 out of him. So you look at Saka and you think, do you know what? Potentially, we've got a right good player on our hands could hit the heights. Yeah. And the beauty of it is we're going to be, we could potentially have this player for years and years and years. I would take that over Aubameyang any day of the week.
Yeah. It's a hell of a case, Ola.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go along with Saka. I think is the future, like you said, is just one of those. Where is that right now? It's priceless to the club. He's so good at what he does, and to have Tierney as well. Saka's been so good that we ain't even missed Tierney, and Tierney's our new, you know what I mean? It's our new signing. We signed this guy for 25 million, bargained with Celtic, like we was paying 250 million for him. You know, we ended up getting him. He ain't even played this season, and Saka is delivering. To me, is to not make us miss a 25 million pound player. I think there's something there to really show that there's quality to come from this guy. And if there's competition, top competition from Saka and Tierney and vice versa, I think we could have a hell of a player on our hands for years to come. So definitely, I'll sign Saka up.
Yeah, I'm full house, really. Saka, I think now there's one person in the chat room that does say, well, Uber bangs in the goals, but for how long? I think, and I'll answer Ella Louise's question in the same breath. It will pain me more long term to go and see Saka rip up and tear up Liverpool for years and years and years moving forward. Whilst I think I take Diesel's point, it's important to not gas Saka up too much. I think at least this season he's shown that he is capable of producing quality. I've known about Bukayo Saka for a while anyway, because being a Nigerian, I watch out for all the Nigerians in our Nigerian team anyway, in our Arsenal squad anyway. So people like, for example, Balogun, who we still ain't seen, but I know is an excellent player for the under-23s. And if Arsenal finally give him a chance, you guys will see him work, And I think some of these sort of players, you can always tell they have some kind of talent. Admittedly, I didn't see him slotting into the team so quickly and producing, 8-9 assists that he had this season from a left-back position that's not even his. Yeah. But what will pain me more than seeing Aubameyang play for Chelsea, and it would hurt seeing Aubameyang play for Chelsea. Actually, it would hurt seeing a Saka play for Liverpool for a good 10 years, because the man is 18 years old. And like I say, for me, it sends the wrong message out to the players if you can't even hold on to your youngsters anymore. It's one thing saying, okay, a 31-year-old is ambitious, they want to win the Champions League. You can understand that. You can cope with that as a fan. But if you can't even keep your youngsters, what message is that sending? And I still think we're hurting over the Gnabry deal. Ask Man City. Man City are still hurting over the Jordan Sancho deal. And I don't think we want to be in that position with Saka, especially watching Saka week in, week out for another Premier League side. Oh, it would be horrible to see. It would be horrible to see. So I hope that we can sort it out, because I think he's such a good player. He's on $3,000 a week. Even with our financial problems, we should be able to beat that offer. But you never know with Arsenal. Maybe they're still trying to negotiate. But hopefully, from my understanding, it's not about money. And I'd like to think it isn't, because it can't be that hard to offer him a decent wage. Supposedly, Arsenal have offered him 35, and he doesn't mind that level of money. It's more about where he plays, how often he plays, and club ambition. Apparently are the stumbling blocks. And much like Diesel, I'd like to see him play left wing, because like Ola has rightly said, we've fought so hard for Tierney, who in the glimpses we've seen him, he's looked really good. Yeah. And I think if you played Saka and Tierney on that left-hand side, we look so dynamic and so quick. Supposedly, if you believe the rumours, Saka and Tierney are leading the fitness charts of our team at the moment. They're the ones that are like they're the most fit out of all the squad right now. So they're clearly hungry young men. So let's take advantage of it. Let's do something with that. You know? But I don't know. Let's see. Now I said we wouldn't talk about specific targets, but let me ask you guys this. In terms of the dreaded C word that YouTube gets sensitive about, how much of an impact do you see that being in terms of signing players, Diesel? Because there are some people that say, well, Stan should just be able to pull out money out of his arse and spend regardless. And I think I don't really understand that billionaires are not doing that for their businesses, never mind for a football club. So, you know, I think this is going to hit everybody. But where do you stand on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to have an effect. But I think people are sort of going over the top when they're saying, you know, there's going to be very little money spent, and you know, it's affected clubs. Look, it has affected clubs in a big way, but trust me, and you know, they've still got big money, right? They've still got big money. I think it'll be the usual players who will probably be spending the most. But I think the only difference is, instead of obviously a player who's rated at 80, 90 million, you'll probably be able to pick him up for say 65, 70. So there will be a little bit of money shaved off, but I also think there'll be a lot more swap deals. I think there'll be a lot more clever deals, shrewder deals, smarter deals, swap deals, you know, for frees, you know. I will take him and give you, you know, 5-10 million, and I want your player. And I think there'll be a lot more of that going on. I think there's clubs who will want to spend big, but morally, whether they do, because it could be looked at as, well, hang on a minute, we've just come out of this, and you're paying a premium, you know, for for that player. So, but on the other end, you know, it's not sport anymore; it's a business. I don't think many clubs are going to care about how they're looked at, but that could play a part. But I still think it's a wash with money, Cheeky, in my honest opinion. For one summer, I think it might not be as busy as previous ones, but I think the one after that, it'll resume back to normal, in my honest opinion.
Do you think we can end up, like, how much do you think realistically Arsenal can spend in spite of what is happening right now? Bear in mind, we're not a big spender anyway. Yeah,
see, I reckon Arteta, to take the job, I reckon surely he would have got assurances of a decent budget, right? Obviously, with this thing, this pandemic going on, it's obviously, there's a little part of me that thinks, you know, the Cronkies, it's great for them in a way, because they can now go to Arteta and say, yeah, about what we said, look, we can't give you that amount anymore. We can only give you this, which in a way you can't really argue with, because obviously everyone's going to be affected by it. What I reckon Arteta's got to do, and what I reckon he's been told to do, is literally clear the decks, right? Any money you want, you need to raise it, you know. So he'll probably get, even if he gets 30, 40 million, and the rest he's got to make up with, you know, player sales. For me, Chig, you know what? It's not so much how much money we spend. I want shrewd signings. I look at a club, you know, like Leicester, right, for example, and I see they spend their money wisely, right? They're not big spenders, and don't forget they've also got a self-sustainable, you know, thingy over there. But they spend wisely, right? Players I've never even heard of, and yet after give it a season, that, you know, they're proper players. We don't do that, you know. All this, we don't spend money. We do spend money. Let's be honest, we do, right? We do spend money. We don't spend it properly. Well, yeah. I think I'd like to know who's buying the players, because I can't. This link with Willian, to me, he's not an Arteta signing. It's not, you know, in my opinion. So I'd like to know who's buying the players, because I don't think it's Arteta, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't feel like an Arteta signing, Willian. For me, I like Willian. I think he's a good player, but he's one of them players where I you know, that you kind of admire, but you don't necessarily want for your club.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Willian is just getting links to the club. Obviously, now we have a face to put to the person that's signing the players, which is Edu. Edu is Brazilian. Willian is Brazilian.
Yeah.
Edu's brought in Martinelli to the club from Brazil. So we've got Pablo Mari from Brazil or playing in the Brazilian league. So there's that link is always going to happen, even though there might be no truth to it, because I'm not sure how much truth is really attributed to this Willian thing. I think they know we bite. They know that in the past we've got a couple of Chelsea's cast-offs, namely say Gallas, Chig, you know, to name a couple. You know, to name a couple. So it's probably why the media would throw the name Willian out there and try and see if it sticks. And you know, it might not even be in the board's reasoning, but if it's out there enough and we ain't kicking off about it enough, or we're kicking off about it, and they might say, you know what, let's go and get this guy. So I don't know how much truth is actually attached to the Willian link, but I wouldn't, based on the signings that we've done recently. Even look at that Cedric Soares from South. I ain't seen this guy. Has anybody seen him do anything? I've not seen him. I've never heard that he's recovered from that injury that we bought him with from Southampton. We keep buying players with injury. What's wrong? What's that all about? We keep doing this, and we said we've changed the whole doctor. The doctor's been sacked or replaced. We brought in a new footballing director. We brought in a new coach. We ain't got a manager no more, and we're still going through the same bullshit every fucking season. Every year we go through the same shit. We buy the same sort of players. Like, we're never gonna build upon what we have that's good. We're getting rid of what's good and bringing in more shit with the shit that we can't get rid of. And that's why we've declined so much as a club, because we keep buying shit and adding it to the shit that we can't shift and letting all our good players leave. It's you know, we can't sustain it. It's unsustainable. And in a couple years, or in a few years down the line, if we're not careful and we keep going on this trajectory, we're just going to be like Burnley. Maybe even worse, if we carry on in this trajectory.
When you saw
I agree with everything you guys are saying. To me, I don't think there's anything wrong with being self-sustained. I think that there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's what all businesses do, and you are naive if you don't think your club is a business. So I completely get it. My issue has always been, how are we spending this money? Like, you're bringing in people, like Ola quite rightly says, we need a right back. No problem. Come and get Cedric Soares. I don't personally think he's good enough, but all right, you've identified him. Go and get Cedric Soares. What, you can't play the football? Eh? What do you mean he can't play football? He's injured. For how long? Don't know. Only Arsenal can do some shit like that.
Exactly.
Only Arsenal can do some shit. You think that after the Kane Kelstrom thing and where we were a laughing stock, Arsenal will avoid doing that situation again. But no. We just mosey our way on into that spot to do the exact same thing we've always done. When it rains, it pours at Arsenal. And that, to me, is where we look like a shoddy club. Because it's not that we don't spend money, because I keep saying it, we spend money. We spend money in two places. Either the wrong signing, i.e. we need a defender, we go and buy a £70 million winger, or we'll spend money on an injured player. It don't make any sense. And don't get me wrong, I think Pepe will come good. I still have faith. I have faith that he's going to shove it down a lot of people's throats next season. But you will never make me understand why anyone who's anyone could see that Arsenal need a defender, because a year later, we still need a defender. And in your mind, you thought the solution was, I'll go and get a £70 million winner. That, to me, these are problems that are not Arsene Wenger problems. They're not Ivan problems. As much as people quite rightly blame those two for their part in their role, these are problems that are created now. Who's making that decision?
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, Chig. Right, this is the issue, right, with this club. There are too many square pegs in round holes, right? How long, right? Have we been without a right back, right? When Bellerin was injured, we had a makeshift, we had a midfielder like as a makeshift right back, right, Maitland-Niles, who, by the way, in my opinion, right, turned out to be our best right back at the club.
100%.
But at the time, we went 2-3 years without a recognised right back. What big club do you know? What big club moves like that? Right? Only us. Yeah? Only us. And this is what I'm saying. There is so much rot at this club, right? There is so much rot. I couldn't tell you who's buying players, right? I look at Arteta. Bear in mind, he come from a team like, Man City, working under Pep. I can't imagine Arteta coming here and buying the likes of Suarez, who can't even get a game at Southampton. He's worked with, creme de la creme of the players, at City, and he's coming in now, and he's buying these players who are injured, can't get a game at their clubs. There's just, I don't know, mate. I don't know. There's something wrong. Willian, right? I'll go back to Willian, right? Now, I don't know if it's true, if we're interested in him or not. If there was a fee involved, we wouldn't be looking at Willian. It's because he's free. That's literally all it is. It's all it is, right? We are crying out, right, for a defender, right, a top-class defender. Why are we looking at wingers?
Exactly.
Why?
It makes no form of sense. Heck, even if you said, all right, we need a left winger, I don't think we do, because like I say, I'd go with Saka anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you said you wanted a left winger, why are we not going after Ryan Fraser, who plays there? Who's younger, who works hard at least. I wouldn't necessarily attribute him as an Arsenal standard player, but we also need to recognise we're ninth. Let's reevaluate what an Arsenal standard player is for the time being. I'd rather someone who just works hard in the team and can do their job. It's just things like that just don't make no sense to me. So it just, do you know what? I was going to leave this to the end, but Adam has reminded me. So I'll ask you straight up, Ola, are Arsenal still a big club?
Arsenal's a big club, just not a big team. That's my view at the moment. Depending on the trajectory that we keep going, we definitely don't behave like a big club in the transfer market. We don't duke it out for players with the top clubs. At least any club in the top six. Every time that over the years, how many times have we scouted players, top players, even this same Willian? We found out about Willian first before he ended up trying to go to Spurs, then ended up at Chelsea. There's countless players that we found out about them first that ended up at other big clubs. And for me, that's because they come in, they put down the big money, and we just walk away from the deal. We've let big clubs bully us so many times, either stealing players from us, we're allowing them to tap players from us. Big clubs don't allow that type of thing. Big clubs do what Liverpool did with Suarez when he went mad, went on strike. The Liverpool fans were burning the shirt. I remember this shit. And they got him tied down. They spoke to him and said, listen, give us 1 more year, renew the contract, let us put a nice, reasonable, big chunk of money on your clause. We know somebody big is going to come get you. Away you go with our blessing. And he played out of his skin that season. That season they had him. He played out of his skin to get his move. And he got Liverpool big money and he got his big move. The same thing they done with Coutinho. We could have done that with Van Persie. I spoke to him and said, listen, you know what? We know you after this. Let's renew your contract. We'll put a clause in there. You can go. We will not stand in your way if that clause is being met. And that's it. And that's how big clubs behave. They don't let their top assets go. And we've let that happen time and time and time again. So for me, we're still a big club, but we don't behave like a big club. But we're definitely not a big team anymore. Definitely not.
Okay. What about you, Diesel? Are we a big club?
Yeah, you know what? I've always what I've always said is this, right? We are a big club. We just don't move like a big club, right? And I think that's probably the best way I can put it. You know, we are a big club. You know, you're not a big club and then overnight you're not anymore. You either are or you're not. You know, there's clubs in the Championship who are big clubs, bigger than some of the bigger than some of the clubs.
Newcastle's a big club
right now. Leeds, you know, for example, always been a big club, always will be. You know, we just don't move like one, Chig, and that's the problem. You know, and I'll never forget. Piers Morgan, right, did a show, did a podcast once. It was around the time when we let Van Persie go to Man United, and it was like a reenactment of obviously Fergie ringing up Wenger and saying, "I want Robin. I'm prepared to pay you 20 million. I want him." And it was like, "Okay, yeah, done deal." And then he said, "Imagine if Wenger had rung up Fergie asking about Wayne Rooney. How quick do you think that conversation would have lasted?" Phone down, and that is
with a fuck off.
Exactly. That is the difference, right? And you know, I keep saying it on that channel. I loved Fergie. I know he's obviously Man United. I can't stand the club, right? But I love winners. I like ruthless. I'm not into sentiment, Chig. And then there's been a lot of sentiment at our club for so long. You know, this misguided loyalty. Misguided loyalty. Yeah, it runs deep, right? There is a poison, a rot at this club, right? And we all thought it was Wenger, and the minute he left, it'll be all rosy again. It's not. There is something deep-rooted within the club. I don't know what it is, but I know for a fact it's there, right? And as long as it is there, we're just going to sink and sink and sink. Someone needs to grab hold of it. You know what I mean? You know, I look at the Xhaka thing, right? Again, what big club would allow that? Who would allow that? You know what I'm saying? But because he's done it, other players, and that creates a divide in the dressing room as well, because you need to be made an example of. The old school managers, that would have happened under George Graham. You mad? You know what I mean? You know, you do that, you're out. Right? No one is bigger than the boss. But we're in this day and age now where it's player power is a thing. It was a thing back then, but even more now. You want to talk to me, go through my agent. It's all of that now, you know. And that's why I'm so hard on these players of today. But yeah, look, we are a big club. We are a big club. You know, we're in a great location. If you look at the stadium, all that, you know, worldwide, global, we are a global brand. In my opinion, we are the third biggest club in the UK, right behind Man United and Liverpool. The issue is, Chig, we don't move like one. That's the problem. You know.
So obviously, on the one hand, you're saying we don't move like one. Ollie's saying we're not a big team. From my perspective, we're a big club with a very small mentality. And that's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
Whether it's the fan base in terms of their expectation, whether it's the board and the way they move, whether it's the players and the way they act, especially when you hear about, you know, people like Tony Adams and Pierre. As recently as this week, I was reading something about how Thierry Henry used to talk about how there were so many like pit side bust-ups just because they were pursuing to be winners.
Yeah.
And you just think to yourself, how many pit side bust-ups could you see happening in our team right now?
The laugh. Nah.
At training and things like that. In the pursuit of success. You can't even imagine it. Every time I see it, don't get me wrong, on the one hand, part of me is kind of like, oh, it's nice they're getting on. And the other part of me is like, no, these motherfuckers should be arguing and saying, look, get there, fight there, slide tackle, chase the man, don't let him get past you. You know, they should be round with each other, not because there is disharmony, but because they're so passionate about winning. And I don't feel like that there is that sort of mentality there. And for me, I'm you know, as an Arsenal fan, I'm so exhausted almost talking about the same sort of thing. And that's why you don't really see me moaning much anymore. You don't really see me banging on much. I'm not really active on Twitter like that. You know, I see people still arguing on Twitter. I barely go on the thing because I'm just at the point now where I'm just like, it is what the club has beaten me down so much in terms of what I hope for them versus what I'm getting. Now I'm just at the point now where, you know, my mum told me a long time ago, don't let this club give you heart problems or make you.
That's too late, man. That's too late now.
My mum told me this a long time ago. My mum's a big Arsenal fan herself, But she said it herself. She said it herself that she backed up from this team a while ago because she knows about the disappointment. She knows about the disappointment. And for me, I'm just, I know how negative this sounds. And don't get me wrong, guys. In a minute, we're going to kind of move towards the end and we're going to try and make it as optimistic as possible. But in my view, if you're going to ask me honestly, are we a big club? Yeah. Do we have the mentality of one? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. From the club to the fans to the players, not at all. Not at all.
No, do you know what? I totally agree, right? And what we have to sort of take from it as well is when you hear of our ex-players, and for example, Thierry Henry, right? When he comes out and says, I'll never forget it, when he said everything's all nice at the Arsenal, it's comfortable. You can imagine the players in the tunnel about to, come out for a game, chatting and having a laugh and a joke with the opposition. I mean, that wouldn't have happened back in the day of, the Tony Adams, the Steve Bolds, I've always said we won games in the tunnel, right? We won games in the tunnel, right? We had big physical men, who were prepared. Vieira even come out and said it. How do you want to play it today, boys? You want to scrap? Because we can scrap. You want to play? Because we can play. However you want to play it, tell us and we'll play it, right? And you look at it today, today and it's all nice. Mustafi makes a mistake. He lets a goal in. I don't see anyone, right, digging him out. I don't. It's accepted. It's accepted. You know what I mean? We need a Roy Keane, a Vieira, someone in that team, right, to call these players out, right, if they're not on their job.
And this is why I say that the fans should also take the blame sometimes as well, because I can almost guarantee there'll be an Arsenal fan that'll watch this and say, "Oh well, times have changed. People are not." You must be on bone if you think that Liverpool, who are running away with the league right now, don't have players that are there saying it's been long enough that we've gone without the league. That this year we aren't messing around and that we're going to do it. That if you think that wasn't said at some point during this season, that a Van Dijk didn't get up, like a Jordan Henderson didn't get up, like a James Milner didn't drill into these players, we need to win this league at all costs.
Bro,
and look at them now.
I mean, check this out, Chig, yeah? Check this out, Chig, now, yeah? Look, when we've got players in the dressing room that's accusing other players for wanting to win too much. I remember Bellerin coming out saying this, Zoolander coming out saying this thing, yeah, that Sanchez loves to win too much. When you got players like that in your team and in the squad and there's that mentality there, you ain't going anywhere fast. It's not going to get us anywhere. And that's why we've not even been at a standstill. We've been moonwalking for years. And we're moonwalking into oblivion right now. That's what we're doing. We're free falling. We're sleeping giants, man. And people like the clubs like Sheffield United coming to our ground, and they don't care. They're coming to claim a scalp. Watford, they're coming to claim a scalp. This is what these teams do now. Burnley, they know if they can get under our skin. When was the last time we convincingly beat Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace wasn't even one of them teams that can lace the boots of our players. But now they come to our ground confident, worrying about taking up 3 points. They're not even worried about losing 3-0
at Arsenal. I am sick of it. I am sick of our teams coming to Arsenal feeling confident. Why should you feel confident?
And the worst thing is this. You know what makes it even worse? And this is my pet peeve. You know this, Chig. These clubs, they have some dead strikers that ain't scored for donkeys. They nobody.
Here we go.
And they just turn up at our ground and we give them goals. Like,
why
we know you've been on a drought. Here you go. Why don't you score one? Why don't you score two? And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is this guy? What's his name? Why is this? We make all these dickhead players and they go on to other clubs and they don't do nothing. You know what I mean? And it drives me nuts. It absolutely infuriates me when we do that. I mean, clubs that ain't scored goals they've been on the They've been on a 5 losing streak, 6 losing, but they know when they come to play Arsenal, they're likely to walk away with a draw, at least break that hoodoo. And that's what we've been doing for a lot of teams in recent years.
Ola once coined the phrase very famously on this show that Arsenal are the Santa Claus of the Premier League. Because if you are a striker that's on a goal drought, a team that hasn't won away from home in a while, Arsenal will gift wrap that shit to you in no time.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's so true. Every time I hear about the fact that, a team hasn't scored in X amount of away games, I think, shit. Why did he even have to say that out loud? Because now Arsenal are going to gift wrap this for them. It's just what we do.
Before Liverpool let Sturridge go, Sturridge came off the bench with 2 minutes to go. And fucking scored against us. I mean, Benteke scored for donkeys. And these guys just come off the bench and do so. When's the last time Benteke scored for Crystal Palace? I mean, these are the things that it grates on me, right? I hate it. And when I see
Shane Long is another one.
Up, that's another one.
Charlie Adams. All of these name it. 9 times out of 10, Darren Fletcher was one that used to make a career of that shit. Jesse Lingard. 9 times out of 10, these people don't do shit during the season unless Arsenal's in town. All of a sudden, we make them become world beaters. It always happens. Always.
And you know, right? They won't score, right, for the rest of the season. You know they won't score for the rest of the season.
Of course
it's so infuriating.
Of course not. Big up to these shits for your donation. Thank you, my guy. And of course, I would. Because for me, I would let Mickey go anyway. And if we can bring in a player that has potential to add something to the side, why not? Why not? He's young, I think he's 19 years old, 20 years old. Bring him in. Let's see what he's got. At least it's an asset. We don't need to pay him anywhere near the 200K that Mkhitaryan is on now. So, absolutely, I'd bring him in. Okay. All right, let's look to the future, right? As we kind of move towards wrapping this up. Obviously, Arsenal are... let me rewind. In terms of the season, obviously we're heading towards Project Restart. Do you believe that the season will actually restart? Because today or yesterday, I heard about a Brighton player that contracted coronavirus. You feel like we're going to keep hearing shit like this up until whenever the restart date is. Do you think it's going to happen, and would you let it happen? Would you restart the season?
For me, I don't think it's wise to start the season so soon because of the people that that are actually testing positive again. The second spike thing it happened in the Bundesliga. I think they said 10 of them contracted it, so they've had to push back on the dates. So it's a situation where we don't know. We're in uncharted territories, and we don't know how to really deal with this situation. We've never dealt with it before. But
let me pause you 1 second. Let me pause you 1 second. Obviously, me and you are MMA fans. I don't know if you are, Diesel, but me and you are MMA fans. Yesterday, we witnessed an MMA event, which Dana was very, very brave, being the only sport in the world where he just thought, fuck it, let's just go. We're just going to do it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And he took major steps in making sure there was barely anybody there in doing the weigh-ins. Everybody had to be tested during the weigh-ins. Family had to be tested. One fighter still contracted the thing and was immediately sent home. Is that what it's going to come down to, where every single game
and this was just for I'd say maybe 24 fighters, right? And their coaching and the staff and the family, they tested well. I think about 300 people and did over 1,200 tests. Now imagine doing that for 20 odd teams in the Premier League and every week. and the midweek competitions as well with the FA Cup. So when you think bringing the season back, the amount of tests that we're going to be taking away from the key workers in the country that really, really need that test.
Excellent.
To me, it's baffling to think we want to throw all that resources on football. Football will lift the mood. I agree with that. But at the same time, we've got a serious situation on our hands that's killing people every day. And to me, that has to come first. I'm a key worker myself. So I don't think there's enough protection for the people that are out there now doing the key work to now move all those resources onto football fields all across the country or a neutral venue, whichever way you want it. You're still going to be taken away from the industry that actually needs it, which is healthcare workers, truck drivers, postmen, all the people that actually still makes the day tick over, the people that work in supermarkets. They don't have that resources yet. You go and put a paramedic or ambulance or two ambulances at every stadium where a match is being played. But there's some other people that's going to need that resources. So for me, until we're absolutely sure that we can extend those resources to football, that's when we should actually take it on. And on top of that, I'm really strong on this. How many of these clubs have actually people are clamoring for players to come back and play footballs to make us happy? But is anybody asking what the footballers actually want? Exactly. They got families too. They got family as well. They got people that live with them. They got people that are there, that are nearest and dearest to them, and they don't want to catch this thing. So it's a contact sport, and to ask people to run 60 yards down the you want your player to track back. I said that about Aubameyang earlier on, adding that to his game. But he's supposed to track back, run 60 yards, clear a ball, but he's not allowed to spit on the pitch. Yeah. How can you do that? Because it's impossible. Football's been played like this from the end of time. So to tell players to have to take that away from the game, it's a natural reaction. And there's no other way that a player is going to not spit and then another player go sliding in it to make a challenge. You can't guarantee it. And that's if somebody's maybe asymptomatic but don't know that they've got the actual virus and they spit, you go sliding in it, you already caught it. And by the time you're making contact with other people and other clubs where you go and play other teams, you're spreading it. So for me, if it's not safe, why make the players go through it? I don't understand it. I never will until something major comes out to say this is absolutely safe for these guys to do it. That's when I think football should come back.
Okay. I mean, you make some genuinely excellent points. Diesel, how about yourself? You think football will or should come back?
I agree with a lot of what Ola just said there because we know about the German league starting, and I think we're gonna watch them with like a hawk and just see how that goes. And I think that would probably determine what we do over here. What I will say is they're saying at the moment it's around about 600 people a day still dying, right? There's people who have this virus and don't even know they have it because they're not. For me, it's not about playing with lives. I don't think it should. I think it needs to be voided. If they have the games on behind closed doors, they're still going to need ambulance crew. They're still going to need nurses, doctors. They're still going to need in case of injury and things like that. So you're taking you're taking a lot of those people away from the hospitals and from what they're meant to be doing. That's number one. Number two, apparently these players are going to be tested twice a week. I'm sorry, we're hearing about a lack of resources, right, for people out there who are literally putting their lives on the line daily. And I'm not just on about the NHS, I'm on about people who work in Tesco's, Asda's, the supermarkets. And you're telling me these players are going to get tested twice a week, and yet these people who are risking their lives are struggling to even get one test? And these players are going to get tested twice a week. That's a lot of players. I think it's disgusting. What makes them more privileged than us?
And to be honest, the players don't want to do it. The players don't want to do it. And I think if the player is half-heartedly and understandably worried about their health, why the fuck are we pushing them into it? Why?
Money. That's what it comes down to, Chig. It's all about money, right? And the players will be pressured. I love the fact that Aguero, right, come out and said what he said, because when a high-profile player like that is coming out, I look at Aguero as like, in that situation, he was like the spokesperson, right, for a lot of the other players. Because trust me, there's a lot of players you don't want to play. There's a lot, right? And if it was a youngster who would have come out and said that, no one would have taken any notice, right? Someone of Aguero's stature to come out and say that, that's his way of saying he speaks to a lot of players, and the consensus is the same. We do not want to come back until it is 100% safe.
And what Aguero says carries weight. Absolutely carries weight.
Exactly. Exactly.
I agree. Okay. Let's leave it on a positive note. Because I know we've been speaking a lot about negative stuff, and I know someone in the comments is going to be like, "Oh, you guys are so negative." But let's try and end it on a positive note. Ola, what are you most looking forward to about Arsenal over the summer?
To me, I think is keeping our assets and getting rid of the deadwood. If we can manage to do that, that's progress. It's not something we've been able to do for such a long time. So, the players that are just getting paid and not really giving the returns that's required from them, be it effort, be it result, be it leadership, be it whatever they need to get us in the right stead. If we're not getting the return for the money we're paying them, I think we need to get rid of them. And our young stars, our potential stars, we need to tie them down. And the ones that are actually giving us something, if they're out of contract, we need to tie them down as well. If we do that, maybe the sale can come after that. But for me, it's got to be keeping what's good that we got, so we can build on it and get rid of the rubbish, the deadwood.
Okay,
I'll take that.
Diesel, what are you most looking forward to about Arsenal during the summer?
There's one thing I would love Arsenal to do, and I know they won't, but it would make my year if the summer came and they paid Ozil off. I'd love it. But you know what? I know it's not going to happen. Listen, it's very similar to Ola, right? I've always been, my saying at the moment is to clear the decks, right? We need to clear the decks. We need this deadwood gone. What I want Arsenal to do, what I'd love Arsenal to do, stop looking abroad. We've got some proper players in this league, right? Start looking in this league. I would even go as far as saying, even look, there's a few gems in the Championship. What I want young, hungry players. I want a spine, right? We haven't had a spine in years. And the more I watch Liverpool, for example, obviously they're a team at the moment. I'm looking at how they play. For me, the number 10 now is non-existent. I want 3 hard-working players, right, in that midfield. Now, we've already got a keeper. I do like Leno, right? That's not an issue. We need a spine. I want a top centre-half. I want a top midfielder. I want a midfield general. Yeah.
We haven't had one since Gilberto.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of that, I was a bit gutted that Mislintat went, actually, because I was quite excited about what I felt he could have brought. But yeah, I don't know who's buying the players. I don't know who's scouting them. I just personally think, stop looking abroad. We've got players in this league, I believe, who, if we went forward, they would come, and they would, in a better team, they would be good players. There's a lot of players who just need a chance, lads. They just need a chance at a top club, and we've got some gems right under our noses, and yet we constantly look abroad. Premier League proven is the way forward, but we want hard-working players. Chig, you said Ryan Fraser. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I'll tell you something, that player works. He works, right? Exactly. And I would take that at the moment over flair and skill and technique and all of that. I want a player who's going to come and graft.
So,
you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
But it won't be long before they accuse him of wanting to win too much.
Exactly.
We still got players like that in the team.
We do. We still have a player like that. Yes. I think From my perspective, you said one of mine, so I'm going to say my second one. Get Thomas Partey at all costs. I've said it before and I say it again. People think I'm joking when I say this. If I could only have one signing, it wouldn't be no damn defender. It'd be a defensive powerhouse presence in that midfield that works hard. Because people say, well, why Chig? We bought defenders. Like, I think people forget, technically, we have 8 defenders on our books. One way or another. The problem isn't just defense. In fact, for me, the problem has always been that central midfield. Because there's no one covering that area. Whereas someone like a Thomas Partey can be an engine, not only going backwards, but going forwards. And just having a bit of a presence in that midfield would make all the difference, even if we have to scrape whatever penny we have left. We need to get that player, especially if the player is deluded enough to actually want to come to us. Let's take advantage of that. Because this is where I disagree with Daniel's comment. I do think players consider size of the club, reputation of the club. I've said this to you guys before on this channel, right? And Ola will back me up as another African in this group. For some reason, Arsenal in Africa are still viewed as a big club.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
They are still viewed as a big club. Behind Liverpool, behind United is Arsenal. Right there. Do you think they care? Do you think they know about Man City? They don't know about Man City in Africa. Not really. Chelsea, they're just starting to become more and more familiar with. But Arsenal are still seen as that club because they still remember things like Kanu playing for the club.
Yeah.
They still remember when Iwobi played for the club. They look at they look at that situation and think to themselves, okay, well this is a club that at least is on the up and up. Let's see how we go. They were successful. Obviously, a lot of countries in Africa are French speaking. The French love Arsenal, so Arsenal generally are seen as a big club, even in Africa. So when you hear stories about Partey's father really wants Partey to join Arsenal, it's not beyond the realm of possibility. I can certainly believe it.
I think we could get him. I really do. I think we could get him.
But it's just how quickly and decisively we decide to go about it.
Yeah.
If we do this dithering shit, like we always do when it comes to signings, especially players that actually want to come to us,
then
we're going to lose out on him. That's exactly what happened with Ziyech. Ziyech damn near came out 2 years ago and said, listen, Arsenal are one of my dream clubs. You would think Arsenal do like, exactly. We need to get someone like Ziyech in this team. And they were like, no. For what? For Mesut Ozil? To me, it just... I just want us to go and do something positive. Put a feel-good feeling on everyone, because there's not a damn person in the Arsenal fan base, even if you think that Ndidi is better, there is not a damn Arsenal fan who's genuinely, I don't care how contrarian you are, if you're an Arsenal fan, surely you believe Partey makes more of a positive difference than any of the central midfielders we have there at the moment. Surely.
Oh, upgrade.
Go and put a smile on everyone's faces and go and say, all right, we don't have much, but listen, we'll go and get Partey before he becomes astronomical or moves to a different club. That I would love to see. I would love to see. But I agree with you, Ramon. That Arsenal light is fading with African fans. And the only way we can do that is go and secure a signing of that quality and make a difference. I'm not saying we'll win the league with Thomas Partey. I'd be shocked if we're ninth with Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
Mind you, and keeping what we already have. You know what, just to add to that little bit there, Chig, yeah, shout out to Ramon on the comment that you just put up, that Arsenal is losing the African fans rapidly. And, you know, he's right in a way, because Arsenal stress out people, man. People get stressed the fuck out when you watch Arsenal. when you follow Arsenal, when you deal with Arsenal in itself is a chore. It's a full-time stress. As if Africans haven't got enough stress by themselves where they are anyway. There's enough stress over there to last them a lifetime. Then you add Arsenal to it. These people want to enjoy themselves, and we ain't even been giving them enjoy. I can't remember the last time that I really watched a game of football of Arsenal and really, really enjoyed it and not feel stressed. And what I mean? There's always that element of we're going to throw this away. And we've been doing a lot of that lately. And that's why, all the young kids, all the 9, 10-year-olds, the next generation of football fans, they're now going towards the Cities, the Liverpools,
You're right.
teams that are actually doing it now. They're not really looking at Arsenal. They're not looking at Arsenal like the force that we know it to be once before.
I have a cousin in Nigeria now, and I'm used to hearing answers like Man United and Liverpool and the occasional Arsenal. Supports Chelsea. I'm like, why do you support Chelsea? Because I wanted to support a London team. Why did you support Arsenal? Come on, Chris. What's his response? Hey, come on, Chris. That is a massive change. So I feel like for me, I just want Arsenal to just go and do something positive in a time which I appreciate more than most. Will be difficult. I do feel like there'll be less money. This is why I slightly disagree with Diesel. I do think there'll be less money than people think being spent. But much like Diesel says, don't tell me you can't afford a £45 million party. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Don't tell me you can't do that. Don't tell me that you can't sell a good 5-6 players to raise said money for Thomas Partey. You of course you can. Why are we the only team that struggle to sell players?
Don't forget though, Chig, we've also got something that they want. Right? We've got Lacazette and he's got a year left. He's got a year left. Cha-ching, cash in.
Make it work. Make it work. Honestly, make it work. This is what these people are employed to do. Just go ahead and just do it. Do it. Just lift everybody. The funny thing is, if all they could do was sign on Aubameyang, sign on Saka, buy Partey, you know what? I'd be okay. It's not what I want, but I would forgive it given the circumstances.
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely fine with that. Just go ahead and do that. Just do that. I'm not even asking for the world. Just go ahead and do that. But anyway, that's it from us, man. We've gone on for an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Ola, do you want to let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BlackScorpion3. Go on Insta, add me on Insta as well at BlackScorpion3. Same handle is right there on the screen. If Chig takes off that comment from a while ago at the but it's down there somewhere. So yeah, go check us out, follow us. As you know, I mess with MMA. MMA is another spot that I really follow. As you know, with Chig, we do the combat show on there. So go show us some love. But yeah, that's where you can find me on my socials.
To the shifts, I was never going to miss your donations, so don't worry about that. Thank you both for both the reminder donation and the original donation, which was you have to have balance of flair and hard work. Thank you. I appreciate it. Diesel, do you want to let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah, firstly, just want to say much appreciated for the comments, you guys in the chat. As you know, I'm a big advocate of the chat room. I love interacting with you guys. So thank you for watching. Also, Chig, I really appreciate you letting me on, mate. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And Ola, top man.
Salute, my brother.
Cheers, man. And yeah, guys, I'm on Claude and the Bansters. To be honest, a lot of the guys in the comments I recognise anyway. So, but yeah, that's where I am. Instagram, DIE_SEL888, and Twitter, Diesel_888, I believe. My memory's terrible. Sorry, don't hold it against me. So yeah, just type in Diesel, you'll find me. But big pleasure.
I'll put the link to both of their Twitters and their Instagrams in the description below. Mine is already there, so do check it out. At Colossal Chig is my Twitter. Insta is what I'm more concerned about growing. Guna Eagle Eye. As Ola mentioned, me and Ola have done a show today, about 2 hours ago, reviewing UFC 249. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Somehow we got into a heated three-way argument again. So go check that out. It's a long show, but definitely check that out. But our shows are going very well over there, so very much check that out. And also Cheap Flicks. I said I was going to do a show today. I still intend to do a show today, but it won't come out until tomorrow. So I'm going to record it tonight and drop it tomorrow. So hopefully check that out. It's going to be an interesting review on a couple of things. So make sure you check that out. I love
Cheap Flicks, man. I love
it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yeah, I think that is pretty much the links to everything. I'll be back tomorrow with my usual transfer show. Basically, the way I'm doing these now is I give myself Saturday off. I'm going to run Monday to Friday with transfer rumors. Sunday, we do this. Next week, I will arrange 2 more guests to come on to do late night with Chig. See, I'm actually being organized and shit. What's going on?
Come on,
what's going on?
He's been time sending the link as well, so that's good. That's good.
I know, right? What's going on? TV shifts, one final one. Did I know Rock is the Gooner? Oh, that would be amazing if he is, because I love the Rock. So that would be amazing.
You kept that quiet.
Yeah. All right, we're out of it, guys. Take care. Please stay safe, guys. Enjoy your week. I know Boris changed some shit today. I don't want to get into it. but at least just be easy. Stay safe. Stay in. Like, regardless of what Boris says, stay in as much as you possibly can. And yeah, I'll see you next week. All right, guys?
Cheers, guys.
All right. I'm out of here.
Salute.